Yo guys, what is good? I hope you're all doing absolutely amazing and are trading safely in the markets. It's your boy VGOK and I'm finally back with another video. I know it's been a couple weeks since my last upload, so I apologize for that. But today's video, I've got a really nice case study video for you. It is again on US30 and I played the sort of position around the NFP news release, which of course, as we know, is on the first Friday of every month. Now, I am still holding some of this trade, but the majority of this trade I have taken my profits. The day that I'm actually recording this video is the day I actually executed. So yeah, in the end, I did sort of get a 1 to 21 risk to reward ratio on this trade, which was absolutely fantastic. But without any further ado, let's get straight into the video and the analysis. So here we have the actual screenshots. Of course, as always, we've got the before and the after screenshots. Now, what we can see here is obviously where I look to roughly enter. I didn't exactly get an entry exactly on the open of that institutional candle, which I was looking to get it in on. It was sort of a market execution around this time because it was coming so close to that 12:30 time. Of course, NFP is usually at 1:30 p.m. If you're in Great Britain. For the GMT, it's normally at 1:30. But of course, the clocks did go back in the UK, so just for this week, it is at 12:30 instead. So yeah, I did market execute around this sort of area, this rough sort of area. Stop loss below this low right in here, and then I was targeting sort of higher up, and I'll go over my targets in just a moment. But as we sort of look at the next sort of screenshot, we can see this was where I roughly took, this was my first TP around this point. As soon as it hit a 1 to 10, I was looking to move my risk, so my stop loss into profit, so it was a risk-free trade, and just sort of carry on monitoring to see what we would be looked to be getting in the sort of price action. And the final sort of TP area which I look to take, and you guys can kind of see roughly where the measured moves I've taken from. So it was a measured move from this point here where the mouse is right now. So from here to here was the start of that first impulsive move. We then had a reaccumulation of price in this zone right here for it to then continue upwards for an equal amount to that initial first impulse, and that in the end gave us that 1 to 21 risk to reward ratio. So now just jumping into the actual breakdown on TradingView, just to see how we got to our sort of analysis. And as you guys can see, you can see where I look to take my profits out at that 1 to 21 risk to reward ratio right here. And as you can see, it has continued to go on higher. So the small amount of position, I think I've got about 15% of the initial position left to run. I did take off around 80 to 85% of that volume off at this 1 to 21, and the rest is still running. But it is risk free. The stop loss is above my initial entry price, so I'm not too worried. And of course, just changing it to the 5-minute time frame, I was looking for a further re-entry on this as well. You can see here we've got this nice sell before buy sort of candle. This reaccumulation area, this 5-minute open I was looking for it to get into. And at that 1:30 time, of course, the usual time if you're in the UK for the New York Stock Exchange Open is 2:30 p.m. Of course, the clocks have gone back, like I mentioned earlier. So obviously the equity open for the UK time is now 1:30 p.m. Of course, this is only going to be for this week. Obviously, as next week the US clocks will move as well, so everything will go back to normal next week. So yeah, I was looking for it to get into this zone, this 5-minute sell to buy region. It narrowly missed out. I'm not gonna lie. Like, as you guys can see, the distance from the zone to the wick I was looking at was about 5 points. It wasn't a great deal. So maybe I should have market executed around this area, and looking at what the time was around that area as well. Maybe I should have got in, but I was still in the buys from earlier on over here, so it was not too much of an issue. But yeah, as we sort of go and have a look at the full breakdown, so I'm going to go fully into the 1 minute because it didn't really react off of a previous zone. The previous zone that it did react off, it had already been sort of moved off from that zone already. So, of course, we had points of interest earlier on in the week where we had the FOMC movements up. From this area, I am still holding a trade that I have buys from this area. These buys from the previous day of FOMC, so the Tuesday, they went up quite nicely for a 1 to 13 or 1 to 12, 1 to 13 or something, but they did break even in the end. I did take some profits up here, but they did break even, and then we got more price action into this initial zone again, for FOMC news to come in around that 6 p.m. We got a really good influx of price, and then it was just sort of holding throughout all the price action throughout the following day. So this was the Thursday, and then Friday NFP, we've got that major movement which we like to see, which we've got right now. So obviously, the zones which I had another zone here for re-entries, again, based from the FOMC initial impulse. Right in here, price action, it came in fairly late in the day, so I didn't really look to play those. Didn't really get in any positions over here. But as we go down into the 30-minute time frame and below, what we can see, and I'm going to sort of squeeze the chart so we can actually see the price action a lot more clearer. And I believe if we go to the 30-minute time frame, there we go. So from London session today, and I'm actually going to cut the chart off so we can sort of follow it, candle by candle. Let's cut it off there. So from London session today, what did we actually see? So 7 a.m. London session has started, London Open. We've got this degree of equal lows, which we can see a build-up of. So the lows from Asian session, at 1:30 in the morning from the previous night, we've got these equal lows building up. We've got an area of liquidity building up here. And then we get within this candle, there's that sell to buy movement, which we like to see. We've seen the liquidity get taken out. And then we've also seen a sharp movement, a strong movement in the opposite direction. Also, consequently, breaking structure to the upside. So, there are two things you could do in this moment. You could just draw a whole new sort of zone based off of this sell to buy candle. We've got an imbalance following the sell to buy, which is also another good sign. So that was one option you could do, but the thing I did was I went into the lower time frame just to see if we could get that optimum entry. And as you guys can see, I was looking at this 5-minute sell to buy region, but also including this wick in here, because I was sort of thinking to myself, where can we sort of see where price is going to be looking to get into? Maybe there's some sort of sell to buy regions over here on the smaller time frames and stuff. So looking on the 1 minute, there was that wick that we saw on the 5-minute was this movement here, this sell to buy. And as we can see, in that movement upwards that broke structure in the end, it was this wick that came in, it mitigated these areas right in here, and then continued to the upside. So we had this zone right in here, and we could also be looking at this zone right in here as well. So as we forward the price, we're going to see exactly what happened. So it gets into this first zone right here. So it gets into the first zone, it fills in this imbalance right quite nicely in there, and as we see, price starts to break away to the upside, which is nice, that's really good. And as we keep going, as we forward the price, we can see it really starts to break above. It breaks above this point here, so we're in a new range, so we can look to execute some more positions based off from this low to this high. Now changing it back to the 5-minute time frame and just watching price progress, we can see obviously where the mitigations on the 5-minute were a lot cleaner to see. This sell to buy candle, that's the last one before it broke above here, and you can see it comes into there quite nicely and goes higher. Now of course my entry was on NFP itself, the actual, the minute that NFP started, the minute that news release was actually released at 12:30, and you can see obviously where my position was. So I didn't quite get any entries in beforehand, around this sort of points. You can see the mitigation around this point. That was the ideal sort of time to be getting in for those early entries and catching all of this movement, as well as the movement that we did catch in the end. So obviously, as we're having a look right here at the 3-minute time frame, and just continuing price to obviously whereabouts we're looking to get our entries in, I was hoping for some sort of mitigation off of this area here. Didn't quite get that. We were very, very close to getting it. It was, it was fairly frustrating at this point, because we had, some degree of equal lows in this area. I was hoping for a spike down below this and then it to go higher. Didn't quite get that. But as we sort of get up to and close to that 12:30 time where NFP, we know where NFP is going to start. So I'm going to cut it off right there, and just at this moment I was following it candle by candle on the 1-minute time frame, just sort of thinking to myself, what is actually happening with this price action? What can we see? Now just zooming in right here, I'm going to be labeling on obviously the structural points. So in this section right here, so the lower highs and lower lows. So I've got the high point, low, lower high, lower low. We've got the lower high, lower low, and then obviously lower high and lower low in there. And this is the movement that breaks it. So from that movement we've seen from here to here, that's the main break which we're looking at. So my first zone that I was hoping for it to retrace into and get entries in on was roughly around here. Anywhere in this sort of purple box, let's get in on. But as we see price, continue higher from this point, we actually see it mitigating from this imbalance fill here. And if you think about it, if you go to the 3 minute, you can see, as I extend this zone out so we can see the wicks, you've got this rally, the base within these wicks, and then it rallies higher to take out these significant ones. Obviously, I've done the significant lower highs and lower lows on the 1 minute time frame, but looking at it on the 3 minute time frame, you can see them, the clearer ones. You've got the high, low, lower high, lower low. There's not all these little mini ones in between. So if you're just going based off the higher time frame structure, which is obviously going to be more accurate and more reliable, this is that base where you're going to be looking to get into. And obviously on the 1 minute, that base is going to be this sort of rally, base, rally. It's followed by a nice imbalance as well. We see price, consolidating in this area, is ranging in this area, it's moving sideways in this area. We see it get into that zone, so we can either see it, penetrate this zone, go deeper into the lower point of interest, or it's going to react in this zone and go higher. And bearing in mind the time which the news is going to be coming in is at 12:30, about 4 minutes before the news actually comes out, we get this impulse up. So I know we're going to have to react a bit earlier. It's not going to come down here now because it's reacted off the earlier zone here. So then I had my sort of confidence to go for the trade right here. So, initially I was looking at the open of this candle, but, there was about 2 minutes left to go until the news was released. I knew that this thing was going to pop at 12:30. The volatility was going to be coming in at 12:30. So, I was hoping for the entry, in here. But if it gets to this area, I won't be scared to just hit the market execute button right here and click those buys to be getting in on that trade. And as we forward the price to see how it went, as we see obviously right there, it comes into the price right there, comes into the zone right there, and it goes off. Now, as we zoom back out on the 5 minute time frame, and if I exit the replay mode, now obviously just seeing this live right now, I wish I didn't take as many profits as I did, because obviously it has continued to go higher. And the last 15% of the position which I have is now floating at 1 to 30 risk to reward, which is absolutely phenomenal. But, most of my profits, I did take them out at that 1 to 21 risk to reward ratio, roughly around that point. Now, the reason why I took my profits at this region right here is fairly simple. On the 1 minute time frame, it's a simple way of those measured moves which I like to use for my take profits. So as we have another look, ask yourself, where is the major impulses starting and ending? So ask yourself, where are the major impulses starting and ending? And if I just highlight this and get rid for the moment. So we've got the first sort of impulse, in my opinion, we've got it starting from this point here up to this point here. Because from here to here, we've got a very clean upwards movement of price, impulsive upwards movement of price, which is great. That's what we're looking for. After this point, what do we actually see happen? We see consolidation of the price of US30. US30 starts to consolidate in this area. It moves sideways. So two things could happen. It could either consolidate and go higher, which is obviously what it did, or it can consolidate and drop down. So it's either going to be reaccumulating or it's going to be distributing in this zone. And that's when you just got to be, on the watch out. And obviously I did try to go for another entry in there. Didn't quite come low enough for me. So feeling quite salty on that, but it is what it is. But as we measure this impulsive move here, from this here to this high right in here, and then we have that same move put on there for the measured move, so that it's an equal or same size move of that initial impulse starting from here. This is where the reaccumulation would have started, and we're looking to take profits up in this zone. I closed my trade around this sort of rough area, which gave us that 1 to 21 risk to reward ratio. Now just looking at price where it is now, yeah, this is looking very, very bullish. But the thing is with this, like, if I just jump back into a higher time frame, let me take the kill zones off so we can see the chart a bit cleaner. So just looking at the 45-minute time frame now as well, you know, if I'm zooming out, we are making further all-time highs. As I was saying in my previous video, we made all-time highs in that trade as well. But in this trade, we're making even further all-time highs. You know, we're getting close to that 37,000 eventually, which is up around here. You know, we're roughly around 36,500 roughly. You know, it's a nice round number, quarter level to take further profits maybe. But at the moment, I'm just going to leave them. I've taken enough profits for this week, so we're just going to leave the trade to run over the weekend. But yeah, as I was saying, when we're looking to take profits, we're looking to take profits, you know, in previous zones of imbalance, at previous structure points, you know, based off measured moves and all this sort of stuff. But normally you have to look left to find that out. When we look left, there's no previous price there. Price has never been this high before ever. You know, even if I go to the daily or the monthly time frame now, which is the highest sort of time frame you can sort of access on here, you know, it's never been this high. It's never been this high. And even now, looking at the monthly time frame, the new month has just started. So I reckon we're going to get further bullish price action. You know, the next month, then December we may have a bearish month. But look what's being created in this month of September. We had that sell to buy movement. This whole monthly candle could be a future zone for the next couple months to keep an eye on. You know, if price does retrace into this zone, we could be looking at further swings to the upside for buys, you know, and creating even more all-time highs. Now, I'm not saying, obviously there are previous imbalances down in here, but just looking at the most recent price action, it's most likely to, you know, be reacting off these zones if we do get retracements into here. So I just wanted to sort of let you guys know. And to be honest, with this trade today, the only way that we could have looked to take profits was based on these measured moves. You know, there's nothing to, like I said before, there's nothing to look left to base our take profits on. So, you know, that's why, you know, I took partial profits at this point here, most of my partial profits at this point, and leaving a little bit of it to run, you know, just to keep some more profits keep going on the table. So there we have that full breakdown of that US30 1 to 21 risk to reward trade on NFP, on the actual NFP news release. You know, I hope you guys really enjoyed this video and really actually learned something from it. You know, if you did enjoy it, please do give it a like, and if you are new around here, please do hit that subscribe button and hit the little bell to get those post notifications so you guys know whenever a new video is about to be dropped. But with that being said, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time for more of that trading source.